One bad day, a stray dog in Turkey was out roaming the streets. He went out to look for food and water like he did every day, keeping an eye out for any scraps he could find. Even though the dog didn't have an owner, he was very friendly, and anyone who saw him on the street and wanted to pet him could do so. In many places, stray cats and dogs are seen as pests, but in Turkey, they are treated very well. People there are known to take care of them, and there have been laws against catching or killing them for a long time. People in Turkey love and care for them a lot, and many go out of their way to give them food, water, and medical care. Larger cities and neighborhoods also work with residents and groups to humanely trap, neuter, and release the strays to help keep the population healthy and under control. This dog's travels led him to a local butcher shop, where tasty cuts of meat were for sale and were displayed in the window. He might get a bone or a small piece of meat from a customer if he was lucky. A woman named Annie had just bought a few steaks in the store. As she was walking out the door to go home, she heard the clear sound of a hungry stomach. When she looked over, she saw the dog looking back at her with those sad eyes that only a dog can make. Annie understood the dog's needs and knew what he wanted, so she didn't think twice about going back to the butcher's to get him some scraps to eat. When she got back outside, she gave the dog a bone she had gotten. He took it very slowly and carefully. The dog didn't eat it right away, though. Instead, he walked away with it in his mouth. Annie thought it was strange that he didn't eat right away, since he seemed to be very hungry, but she was just glad to have helped. The next day, Annie saw the same stray dog on the street. When he saw her, he perked up and waggled his tail. Even though she was in a hurry, she still got him a snack and petted him. Again, he took the food she offered and walked away. She wanted to follow him, but she had to keep going. Annie brought a small bag of treats with her the next day when she went to see the dog. She gave them to him and watched as he left without eating anything. She had nowhere to go, so she decided to follow the dog to see what he was up to. The stray dog led her to a busy street, where he turned around and went straight to a storm drain. He sat down next to it and put a treat in it. Then he ate one of the treats himself. The next day, the dog did the same thing and seemed to be obsessed with the drain. Annie was curious about why the dog was throwing away half of his food, which he really needed, and finally decided to look inside the drain. She was shocked when she looked down into the drain and saw tiny eyes looking back up at her. She called the fire department right away. Within half an hour, they were there to help free whatever poor animal was stuck down there. But they couldn't open the drain until they got the stray dog out of the way. He was trying to keep it safe and was nervous about the firefighters and crowd that had gathered. Annie called him over to give him a treat. He came over to her with his tail wagging, and she held him close so the firemen could get to work. After a few tense minutes, one of the firefighters reached into the drain and pulled something out. A tiny kitten was in his arms. He did this 4 more times, and each time he found another kitten. He did this until all of the kittens were free. The stray dog couldn't be stopped any longer, so he ran over to the kittens, wagged his tail, and sniffed them gently to make sure they were okay. Annie was shocked. She knew there was something in the drain, but she never thought it would be 5 kittens. The stray kittens got stuck in the drain, but they survived because the stray dog shared his food with them and got Annie's attention. Annie already knew what to do. She told the firefighters that she would raise the kittens at home until she could find them permanent homes. She went home after putting the kittens in a carrier, but not before she turned to the stray dog. "Come on, Benny, we're going home," she told him. The dog didn't need to hear anything else. He jumped up, wagged his tail, and followed her and the kittens to his new home. Annie gave away 4 of the kittens to good homes when they were old enough. One foster failure, a kitten she named Fudge, she fell in love with and kept. In the end, each of their stories had the best possible ending.